Good morning or afternoon, as the case may be, or late evening if you're watching this at a different time. This is Star Wars Saturdays, which is part of a living campaign that I've been running for over a year now for the Gauntlet community. The Gauntlet is a community of worldwide folks who are big time fans of small press, uh, independent, and OSR RPGs as role playing games, tabletop RPGs mostly, but we do some LARP stuff thanks to the genius of Garrett helping to convert that stuff over. This is a game called Primetime Adventures that we're playing this month. PTA, as I call it, the third edition by Matt Wilson of Dog Eared Designs, is a game about emulating television drama. And it doesn't use dice. So if you're here for the slinging of dice, you may go away disappointed, and I'm sorry, but you may want to stay and learn something kind of new and different. This is a very different kind of game in that while the GM, called a producer, does have a lot of the GM duties that you would see in a more conventional RPG, I also have a budget. And the amount of conflict that I can bring to the amount of oomph I can bring to a conflict is governed by that budget. And there's also this ingenious little mechanic called fan mail that you may have seen in things like Golden Sky Stories or other games that have a reward system that's kind of on a meta player level, where people who are doing things that are cool or interesting, other players can reward them. I, as the producer, cannot award fan mail to people. I can suggest behind the scenes, hey, that might be fan mailish, but I try not to. I try to hands off. And as a result of my hands off, there's 19 in the audience pool. There's just if we were at a table, there would be so many poker chips in the middle of our table that if they were edible, I could have a meal. I'm just a very unhealthy meal because they would probably be potato chips, but yeah. There's that. So in this game, we are playing a rebel cell, sort of like one of us was revealed in the last episode that may not be 100% on board with the rebels at all. But ostensibly, the group knows that they are all part of a cell for the Rebel Alliance. The timeline is the Return of the Jedi timeline, and it's at the point now where within that movie timeline, we're post Empire Strikes Back. Things are looking bleak for the rebellion. And so you guys are in hiding. Now, you're all part of a crew on a large freighter by the name of the STS Archmage. The Archmage is this gigantic freighter that mostly rides along major trade routes throughout the galaxy, going from the core worlds where you have Coruscant, which is where Emperor Palpatine is, and a lot of the very, very solidly Imperial-controlled worlds that are extremely rich, very humanocentric. And then as you expand out to the mid-rim, where things are still under the Empire's control, but there are little areas of dissent. And then out to the outer rim where the Empire doesn't care because that's like the ghetto of the galaxy. And so there's a lot of freewheeling stuff and pirates and crazy people and sand planets with two suns and all that good stuff. We are in the fourth episode, the fourth session of 4. And in each individual episode, there will be a person who has a spotlight episode. And so for this one, it is Isol who has a spotlight. So what I'd like to do is introduce our people with the screen presence of 1. Then we move up to Horst and his character. Then we finish off with our spotlight episode, our spotlight character. And then I'll frame the first scene as kind of an interstitial, effectively. And then we'll go in rounds as we normally do in primetime parlance. By the way, once you get to think the work of PTA, and I'll talk more on later after the game, the work of PTA is getting the engine set up and getting it going. And you guys, I feel like we're on I may be bragging too early, but I feel like we're on the path. We've got this track going and we're speeding along. So Pavel, can you please remind us of your character?
I'm playing Neil Mao. Neil Mao is the main pilot of STS Archmage. If you're wondering how he looks, I'm totally imagining the pilot from The Force Awakens. He's that guy. He's also an Imperial spy, which hopefully nobody discovers. Last time he was not discovered, he had some problems. And yeah, he will be trying to sell the crew to the Empire or set them up for a failure. And meantime, giving the spotlight character the opportunity to shine. He's Imperial starfighter pilot. His friends to Captain Bondo and his girlfriend Anian.
Thank you very much. Next, Joshua, could you remind us of your protagonist?
Yes, Rook is a Wookiee, and he was previously enslaved on Kashyyyk under Imperial control, but he was rescued by some rebels, and so now he works for them, doing all the great Wookiee things. But in this case, namely, he is a kind of lounge singer-esque character, which he uses as cover to infiltrate different locations for the rebellion. And throughout this series, we have discovered that Rook's true passion is singing, and he's kind of been trying to get out of the Rebel Alliance, excuse me, shooting stuff up gig, and move towards full-time musical performance as his passion. So
nice. So you guys see how we are such a powerful rebel cell. This is very effective. We have some kind of guy who's just here for the music, and the other guy's actually Imperial spy. So let's find out, Horst, about your character.
So I'm playing IG-78, which is an assassin, a droid constructed by the Empire, but reprogrammed by the Rebellion to help them with their cause. IG-78's problem is that she is ashamed of what she was and unsure about who to become or how to become, more human. So my issue is ashamed, and my impulse is being aggressive when things go wrong.
Thank you very much. Last but definitely not least is our spotlight character played by Alejandro.
I will be playing Isol Maish, who is a rebel soldier / untrained force user in denial. He is a Bothan that is fully accepted into the Rebel Alliance, but is constantly struggling with self-doubt and trying to prove himself to people who already have accepted him. His issue is anxiety. His impulse is being impulsive, and his and his connection was lost. It was killed last episode, so now he's feeling probably a little extra lost, but he knows he can count on Nil.
So let's talk mechanically. With that connection lost, you have 100% option. Because I don't see how we can easily bring that connection back in. We can do it via flashback and the like, but it will be difficult to tap into. So I'm offering you, especially because this is the spotlight episode for you, do you want to pick a new connection or create a new edge for Isol?
I'm thinking. Oh, we were talking about his new connection being the mystery passenger
we did talk about that.
He's a force user or a Jedi, I think. I don't remember. Something like that.
Do you want to go forward with that? Is that
yeah
okay?
Yeah,
cool.
That'd be interesting. I don't know how we do it, but we'll find out.
Awesome. I like it. So let's roll forward, my friends. And so we are going to Sorry, just looking. I'm looking up a name for our.
Alejandro, anything we can do with your background voice coming from, especially when you were talking? We had
that was me, I think. My son has a friend over, and I'm about to go yell at him to be quieter.
Okay.
It won't work because they're 13, but I'm going to do it anyway because it makes me feel good to yell at him. When
Richard lives in a gymnasium, and there's a lot of children gymnasing.
Yeah, Alejandro, but still, when you're moving your hand, there's like some.
Oh yeah, people pointed that out to me. I don't notice it. Like it's totally not. Every time that happens, if it's happening, just type in the word mic, and then I'll pay attention, and I'll make sure to pay attention. It's just like if my hand is here and I turn my head, it'll like the little wire just taps my hand.
Yeah. Like it. I know for myself, it's not a problem for me while we're playing, but if I were watching this show, this kind of stuff like totally puts me off from watching our recording because it's
no problem. Yeah, I'll do my best to keep a hand away from that.
Sure, just saying cool.
Oh yeah, I think some of the phone things have like little clips. If you were to put a clip to where it was just up against your shirt, I think like 90% of that would go away.
The computer's too far away from my head,
so that makes sense. Yeah. All right, so if you cut off your right arm,
your right arm. Maybe by the next game, the next session.
It's all good. The cut off your right arm was totally a joke. We begin this particular episode. We have the Archmage coming forward over the star field, and we've gotten a little extra budget because we see that there's some new footage of the Archmage coming in to Druckenwell, which if you guys are paying attention to, or if you're on, and I'll actually screen share for anyone that's watching. Druckenwell is right here. It is along the Corellian trade route. So called because it runs directly through Corellia, one of the most important planets in the core. So you guys are heading towards Druckenwell. And we have the intro of all the main cast and the characters and all of the folks that we created in our session 1. And then we have an exterior shot of the Archmage passing by, and we see a single viewport, and we stay along that, and we go in. And inside this viewport, we see that there is a quarters, and lying in his bunk is a furry Bothan. And then we see that he's asleep. We see his room. What's one particular thing in Isil's quarters that he's carried with him for a while and puts on display?
Well, if you remember, he actually sleeps inside his ship. That's his.
That's right. Thank you. So we instead of coming through the viewport. Thank you. I totally spaced on that.
Yeah.
We come through
maybe if we go through his, because he does have quarters.
Mm-hmm.
If we go through his quarters and it's just packed with storage stuff, and we go down the hall into the where the ships are parked, and into the cockpit that's empty, and then the passenger cockpit part, the secondary, that's where the secondary seat is what's turned into a bed.
Cool. Sorry, dog barking. This is the worst. And so I apologize for all the background noise. This is a thing about motorcycles lately. He's 6 months old and he's the worst. Okay. So we come through the cockpit with view, and then nestles the camera is kind of over and viewing Isil, and we see that he's asleep, and then there's a kind of a screen wipe but we still see him in the background for a few moments until he fades away. And you are, Isol, you're running down a corridor. And of course, we, the audience, know that this is a corridor that we've seen on the Archmage in a lot of scenes, but it's lit different. There's a lot of red lighting here. And Isol, you are running from something. And you know that whatever it is, it's terrifying because it's a personal fear. It's a boogeyman. It is a thing that has the primal part of the Bothan before they evolved. Something, an instinctual fear is there. And we see you running, and you stumble at one point and scramble back up to your feet and continue running. And then we see this like greenish light flare up near your face. And we hear, the audience gets a little excited because we hear the low hum of a lightsaber. And then, Isol, you see that it's in your hand. You've seen lightsabers. You're old enough as a Bothan to know the time of the Old Republic, of those legendary laser sword wielding Jedi. And here you're holding it in your hand. You look, there's a moment of warmth. We see on your face just a glimmer of hope. At the end of the hallway, though, that thing that brings terror stalks forward. We see the shadow. And then we see at the end of the hallway, coming around into your field of view, your enemy is Nilmao. And then you wake. When you wake up, Isol, in your cockpit, you see that there's someone standing on the top of the cockpit, like the glass. You know, it's like a very, 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 like it can survive space type of glass that we have, Star Warsy glass, space glass. I don't know what it's called, but there is a Rodian, kind of a squat little Rodian, barefoot. It's the passenger, the mysterious passenger. And he's... Transparisteel sounds amazing, and I'll go with that. That is our current canon for the rest of this session until someone looks it up and says otherwise. But yeah, we have a little squat Rodian who's crossed his arms, and you know the European style of squatting where you like you're over your I can't remember how to describe it, but like you just kind of sit straight down. There's no cross-legged, but you're still standing, like he's on his feet, and he's leaning down and watching you through the Russian squatting is great. I love all the words you guys are teaching me today. I'm just going to this. We're now playing Balderdash in reverse. I don't know. Transparisteel. He's standing on the Transparisteel window, and with those huge Rodian eyes, right? The Rodians are Greedo species. Maybe they have the weird ears, and they're usually green or a dusky brown. He's a dusky brown, and he's wearing robes because we definitely want to do that. And just watching you, observing you while you sleep. What do you do?
I become aware of this, and I like open my eye and I look at him. Just I don't move, but I look at him out of the corner of my eye. And I roll away from him, in denial of his presence. His robes are clear, so I know what he is, and he's one of those people that are going to tell me stupid stories about myself. But as I roll away from him, I realize that I can't roll away from him because he's suspended 2 feet away from me, so there's no rolling away from him. And I just like look at him and I'm like, what?
Ah. You see his little proboscis wiggle as he speaks. You decided to awaken.
You decided that for me with your loud footsteps.
No. No, you have awoken. And now we will see what you will do with it.
No.
Yes. Rhodians have those like little suckers at the ends of their hands, and he taps the transparent steel cockpit, and then he stands up and starts to waddle away. What do you do?
Because this compartment's kind of set up for my bed, I don't like coming in and out of this way. So I slide down to the proper cockpit, open that up, and get out and like kind of start following him. And I'm like, why are you following me? Why are you bothering me? Like, I'm definitely not interested in what this person has to say as I follow like behind him.
Cool. And he's in the semi-traditional Jedi robes of like the light beige and the dark brown overcoat. And he actually slides his hands into the sleeves of the coat. And so he's walking to where you could just see his head. You're a Bothan, so almost everyone's taller than you. He's only slightly taller than you. And he waddles a little bit. Like there's this kind of sway when he walks. He never seems like he's in a hurry. And he says, "Oh, with your mouth you say you did not call me, but you did." And I answered,
"No, I run back to the ship and run back with my little soup cup. I'm just getting coffee. I mean, I'm just getting soup. I don't know what you're talking about."
Pulls his hand out of his sleeve and past your shoulder and says, "Oh, I understand. I hope the soup is filling, but it is not what you truly hunger for, my son."
I just nod my head. I mean, shake my head and continue walking to the cantina.
Yeah, there's a mess hall.
Yeah, the mess hall.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
All right. Like, does the scene end there? Like, if he's done with questions and really just shutting that off, that's my interstitial, and that's a totally good kickoff for me.
Yeah.
All right. Let's work out our scene order, my friends. Who would like to frame the first? We'll figure out the order, and then we'll circle back to frame scenes. So, who would like to go first?
We just had my interstitial, so I don't want to go first.
Yeah, sure.
But yeah, I don't mind going second or last or something like that.
Okay, Alejandro, you are second. Pablo, you'd ask some questions. So, do you have some ideas? Do you want to frame first?
Okay.
Okay, and then Horst or Joshua, who wants to go third? Or rather, who wants to go last? Because everybody argues for last, and this you gauntlet folks, you always want to go last because you're so considerate and like, no, I don't want to go ahead of you. It's like normally in like other games of like everyone's fighting to go first, and in all of gauntlet games, it's like who's fighting to put other people ahead of them. It tickles me, but it's the same fucking problem. So like, do I just assign you people? Horse, you're going last. All right.
I go fourth.
Yes, you do. Sorry, I was finding amusement. I wasn't mocking anyone. I hope they didn't take it that way. Pavel,
today we denial Joshua being polite.
Josh is legit Canadian, though. He gets it like by culture.
Can you, Rich, move us to the screen with our...
Yes, I should do that thing. Sorry, I got excited about the galaxy map, and it's really useful to have those dealies.
I'm not denying that. It is.
There we go.
Apparently, you seem to know more about this planet we are on than I do. Do you want me to just come up with something, or do you want to tell me something about this planet where we are?
I am happy to tell you more about Druckenwell. So Druckenwell is an industrial world. It's on the Corellian Run. Historically, it's been a trade federation world that was loyal to the CIS and during the Clone Wars, and it is the place where Blastech weapons was created. So this is a very important Imperial world. There's Imperial symbols on everything in the space station that the Archmage. There are stormtroopers aplenty, and you will get a mission briefing at some point. But do you want me to give you the mission briefing, or do you want me to save that for a second interstitial that I'll throw in?
Well, I just wanted to have this this briefing as a plot. However, I'm not sure if I should come up with a mission or if it will be given to us. Then, let's see if we can come up with some conflict over there.
Okay,
So,
cool.
Yeah,
So
definitely, I was thinking like plot scene for this like mission introduction, what we are here to do, or something. This. Let's name this A Team, Rebel A Team.
All right, good. So, scene ingredients, we know you want the team, so everybody's present. Where's the location of this mission briefing?
Yeah, I think we are keeping the same mission, the same mission room from the last episode. So I think we said it's like a back room of some engineering room. I think that's what we said.
That sounds right.
It isn't small. There are some couches and some large table where we can visualize some stuff because it's future, or have some paper on the table also works.
Awesome. So as you guys are all formed up, real quick, what do we see when Rook enters the room? What's going on with Rook? Is he carrying anything new? Is there anything to indicate his temperament right now?
I think he has ditched the bandolier that you sometimes see on wikis, which we kind of maybe even get a quick flashback to him like pulling a grenade off and is about to chuck it. Of course, he didn't chuck it in that scene, but anyway, he's not wearing his bandolier anymore, and he's like clearly spent more time braiding his facial hair. So he's kind of leaning into the performer side of himself, physically and mentally.
Nice. And then when IG enters, what do we see from her entrance that will tell us a bit about what's going on in her world?
She has knitted a hat, very very colorful green kind of winter hat that she wears on her metal dome.
So cool. That is so cool. I love it. Thank you very much. And then Isol, when you enter the room, what do we notice about you? What does the camera focus on about you?
He has a cup of soup, and he kind of goes to the back of the room. Usually he's like up front, but this time he's kind of goes to the back of the room and is just kind of looking around, and just it looks like he didn't sleep well, or looks uncomfortable, or there's just something off about him. Maybe he's less put together than normal. Usually he's pressed and proper.
Nice. The hologram sparks to life, and we see the person that's given you previous missions, Leda Mothma, daughter of Mon Mothma. She does not wear a hairstyle like her mother's, the close crop, almost pixie cut, or the kind of mod look. She actually has grown her hair out a bit and has it in the Princess Leia buns, because those are, still in fashion in the core worlds. And she's wearing a modest dress, like it's built for travel. kind of thing. It's not super fashionable, so her hair and her dress are a little out of alignment. And she says, thank you all for gathering, Nilmal, gathering the team. You guys have arrived at Druckenwell, which, as you know, is the headquarters of Blastech, very staunchly defended Imperial world. There is an individual, a human by the name of Tanish Duray, and Rich will write that name down, who has approached some of our agents on Druckenwell about the possibility of defecting to the Rebel Alliance. Tanish is a droid technician and researcher. He has developed a technology that can disable not only very quickly disable the restriction bolts, but can do so at a distance. This could be very beneficial for our aims. So I want you as a team to meet with Tanish, and then there's a little quick and basic set of symbols, and then in the Druckenwell capital world, you are able to see the location of his particular flat. It's in Il Avali, which is the capital, and his flat, he's located it's a very industrial world, so a lot of people just live in not coffin hotels, but in very, very organized squat rows of skyscraper level apartment buildings where everything looks very routine and the same until you get inside. And so you gather that, and then there's a picture of him. He appears to be in his late 30s, and he has very dark skin and kind of a neutral look. Like this was obviously a picture that was kind of stripped off the Imperial records. Doesn't look like it's a candid shot at all. It's one of those stand and like a driver's license picture effectively for the guy. And she comes back from all the imagery, and you see Leda Mothma again. She asks, "Are there any questions?"
I believe only one. How do we address her? Like Lady Admiral Mothma?
Oh, she doesn't. She doesn't have a rank actually. Okay. Mon Mothma does, but Leda Mothma is just your handler. Effectively, you can call her Leda.
Mm-hmm. Only one, Lady Leta. We apparently cannot take him with us. It's like too big of a target. Where is the drop-off point for the target?
We are unable to set a solid drop-off point at this moment. We have a few options. If you are unable to bring him aboard the Archmage as a passenger, then you can contact us again, and we'll try to secure a safe house for you. But the preference is that you get him off world.
Yes, of course.
Okay, and then there's
clear question. So the planet we're on is heavily Empire planet.
Mm-hmm.
Right. It's somebody said that its capital is called Palpatine or something like that.
Oh, there was I think that the space station where you guys pulled in is named after Emperor Palpatine. Which I think
so we're clearly in solid Empire territory right now.
Yes.
Yeah.
Leda, how sure are we of this person's loyalty or interest in loyalty to the rebellion? How much proof do we have?
Always a risk. There is always the possibility that we are being played. I'm happy to provide you the communications that he sent out, and we feel that it is worth the risk. And I know the risk is on you, but is it worth the risk of exposing a cell in order to procure his talents and his allegiance to our cause.
Understood. Yes, those communications would, I think, be key for us to understand the target.
Understood. Cool. And you see like a little data transfer comes through, and it will be on the data crystal that is currently attached to your little holo projector.
Thank you. Okay, we will let you know about the success of our mission.
Good. Cool. And I know this was plot, so I didn't necessarily set up a conflict. So
But it's incoming. It's incoming.
Okay, good. So she disappears, and that concludes the. I was just getting excited because my dog was being quiet. I'm sorry.
So yeah, after the like call is like done, Neil just like brings up the hologram of some. It's like some square in like the capital, and it's clear that there's like a cafe on one of the sides, and Neil just like brings it up, and like so here is the perfect place where we're gonna set up a meeting with the targets. I've assigned IG and Rook to go and meet the target, and yes. ISIL, there's a perfect position for you here to provide support for the team, and he shows like position. I'm not really sure where it will be, but I totally see that from tactical point of view, it could be viable. But in some expert view, we see that this position will be like really bad. He'll be like far away, couldn't like really like get into action. It's clearly a bad plan that Neil's trying to force over here. He's putting the Rook, who he sees is like trying to be non-violent, into like place where the firefight could happen, and pushing like ISIL aside. So yeah, he just like presenting this plan, and just like expects everyone to agree to agree. Like, any questions?
ISIL raises his hand and goes, "Yeah, I see your strategy here, and it's actually quite interesting, and I think quite plausible. Perhaps if we delay the time of attack, you can see that his travel route goes from here, crosses this path right here, and right in the middle of the two points between the cafe and his destination point, there's an alley there, which is right across from where I'll be standing, where I can actually beautifully take him. But instead of doing it at the cafe, we can do it right here, and probably it's something that Nil overlooked, that if we just adjust the plan just a little bit to the left, then it's actually possibly like a better execution point."
Of course. And
excellent call, Nil.
And Neil says, I understand, but taking into consideration your last showdown in the big city with the big explosions, I would like to keep you like slightly further away from the actions. We don't need explosions just on this one. Just quickly, quietly infiltrate, meet with the target, talk to him, and then extract, hopefully without any blaster fire or explosions. So yeah, and I think we can like set up this is the conflict, like kind of like I feel this could be like an interesting conflict over here.
I agree that this is definitely a conflict. It's less about is it the best tactics? It's more of is Neil going to force you guys to do it his way, even though there might be better ways presented. So I like that.
Will ISIL convince has his way and it's like force his plan because it's clearly better? It's like up to you.
I was thinking more because ISIL's. As soon as you said, "Yeah, remember how you failed last time? You're going to fail again." So ISIL's really like put in his place. So the conflict is more: does he convince the other guys of his plan, or you know what I mean? And it's more not about him taking initiative, but like, did he actually succeed in demonstrating the yeah. I think I just repeated what you said, but whatever.
All right. Good. So I, as the producer, what I want is for there to be conflict between you guys. So that is my stake. So I'm trying to trigger people's impulses within this argument. That's what I'm headed for. I have spent 4 out of my budget. Sorry, I couldn't get to the
Bless
mic
you.
fast enough. I apologize. Thank you. So I'm spending 4 on my budget. I've got 5 cards. You've got, Isol, a screen presence of 3. Do you have any edges or connections that you're bringing to bear?
One edge, the rebel soldier.
Sounds good.
I don't see him having any other.
Okay, spending any fan mail.
No.
Okay, so that's a total of 4 coming your way. Nilmao.
I got a mighty presence of 1.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
Are you using any edges or connections?
No, like this is clearly the place where he loses.
Yeah, well, you never know. You got the ace of diamonds or something, maybe. All right, cool. Now, does anyone want to throw in fan mail from our on either side? So IG or Rook.
I want to spend a fan mail for Isol.
All right, coming your way.
I have a quick mechanics question.
Mhm.
Pavel is just playing his 1 card. Could he also play a fan mail to support me separately, or fan mail to support?
If the player wants to, yeah.
Yeah, so he can actually play against me and for me, and just
You can, although I think from just a Roll20 mechanics thing, I would want to like get 1 card out and then deal the next.
Yeah,
so you can't pick and choose and go, well, I'll give myself 1. That just seems weird.
Yeah.
Cool. Good. So Rook, no fan mail expenditure. We're good to just let it ride. All right. I've got 3 reds, my friends. And keep in mind our kind of hack of PvP that we've done before. You're going against me to see if impulses are triggered, but then you kind of go against each other in arguments. So it looks like no one has more red cards than the producer. This is a plot. So no one has more red cards than the producer, and no one has a higher card than the producer, which means that it's a no and for plot. You don't get what you want, so now we have to compare between the 2 of you. Isol does get what he wants, which is to suggest a different plan, right? Like what you wanted was to...
Right.
Yeah, and what I wanted was some dissension in the ranks. I want to mix things up. There's a little bit of stress. The fact that Lieutenant Noct is gone and now Nilmau's trying to run this thing and he's forcing, kind of ramrodding through this plan and not listening to you guys. So it's going to cause a bit of dissension in the ranks or some disarray, some problems for you guys. And based on the cards, eventually you will come around to feeling strongly that the right way to go is what Isol's thrown out. He's a rebel soldier. He's thrown out the best options. And both impulses are provoked within this conflict. So those are all of the things you guys have got to work towards. We can talk it out or play a little bit and then talk the rest. Wait, I see 4 reds. Do I see 4 reds? No, I see 3.
3 reds. I had 3 reds.
Okay, 3 reds. Okay, for some reason the 6 would look like it was in 2 places, and I confused myself. All right, good.
So he starts. So Isol starts, explaining his plan, and maybe you see like Rook kind of nodding his head a little bit, going, "That's interesting." And then Nils like kind of sees that and says, no, remember when you're really, really violent and you caused this chaos or whatever. And Isil's like, no, and he kind of explodes, kind of like he's like, no, that won't happen. And he kind of gets really like impulsively just starts reacting to the accusation. It's like, no, that was the plan, and then in the middle of it, he just like realizes that his kind of little outburst demonstrates that Nil's right, that I'm impulsive, and though I know my ideas better, he's the commander, and so he just kind of, like in the middle of a sentence, he just kind of, yeah, okay, yes, sir.
So what is it that IG-78 does or says that kind of pushes you guys to all, as a group, realize which is the better plan or agree which is the better way to go?
I'm not sure that IG-78 is very active in that discussion. She's more of an observer.
Okay.
Because the way humans react under stress, Neil trying to insert his authority, and Isil starting to shout. Maybe her input would be, we all need to calm down. We should all not listen to our instincts, but think about the plans logically. And I think Isil does have a point.
Rook agrees.
Nice.
And Rook also says, and Nil, I think you should be the one to meet with the target because you're human and we're on an Imperial-controlled planet.
So with your ruthless and dishonest impulse triggered, what do you do?
I'm trying to think of it.
Sure.
What's this dishonest? Yeah, I think Neil says something like something according to yes, I was the one being promoted to the captain. I'm trying to just do my job, and you are like all trying to like come up with like very bad ideas and trying to like wreckage the plan. Like I was promoted. Like why you were undermining me? Like you just. I don't want any blaster fire over there. No explosions. Fine, we agree. We agree to the plan. Stay true to your orders.
Nice.
Yes, you're right. You were the one that was chosen, and you know this territory better than us. I'm sure there's something that we don't see.
Cool. And I think we bring the scene to a close there. There is some audience pool out there. You guys good? That's the scene ender? Good. All right.
Yeah,
based on our order of scenes, Alejandro, you are next.
I'd like to do a character scene where he's going back to the I'm sorry, I'm going to call it a cantina again, to refill his soup that he just kind of spilled all over the office.
Nice. You're going to Moto's, huh? All right.
Oh, wait. No, I have another idea. I'm sorry. I want to do this instead. As everybody's filing out, a character scene, I want to have like a brief conversation with IG-78. And basically I want to like get his attention and kind of point towards his hat and say, IG-78. I just want to. I appreciate your support, but mostly I just want to acknowledge that it really seems like you're really stepping into this new role that you've created for yourself. And I admire that. Thank you.
Well, Isel, and she takes the cap off, and you can see that it is like completely out of shape and out of form, and it's probably I don't know, like her first try to knitting after sewing was a complete disaster last time. And she says, well, one thing I admire in humans and in Bothans is that you don't seem to give up. I mean, I know that I'm crap at knitting, but as a robot, I would follow like a pass-fail program. But as somebody who tries to be more of a living creature, I try to push myself to, accept failure and do better next time. And that is something I learned from you guys.
I take the cap out of your hand, like presuming if you allow him to, and I kind of like flip it inside out, and you just really see the just kind of random crazy ass knots, and I'm like, these are like, these are not mistakes. These are like the paths, the scars that make us who we are. Without these misaligned knots, I don't know how else to say it. Without these strange contortions, we would all just be stormtroopers, just copies of each other. But clearly, you're not a copy of anybody. And I hand it back to you. It's a beautiful hat.
Thanks, Isel. But I think it's okay to accept failure in order to better yourself. This is not the last cap I will make. This is the first. And trust me, the next one will be better and the last one will be beautiful.
They're all beautiful. I hope someday I get to try one on.
So may I suggest a conflict?
Yeah, I think that we were dancing around that conflict. I was about to highlight it. Thank you.
It might be subtle, but I want Isel to accept that that you shouldn't be complacent with failure. That pushing yourself in order to get better is a goal to achieve, or like to pursue. And it seems as if Isel is saying, like, having these failures and anxieties is totally okay.
What he was trying to get across to IG-78 is that these failures are the accumulation of these failures are what make us, for lack of a better term, human.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, so it's both don't deny your failures, but don't be limited by them, which is totally not Isel. So to be trying to turn that back onto Isel's pretty interesting.
Okay.
You get that, Richard? You look confused.
I'm just trying to think of like, because this is the second scene in a row where it's been PvP, which isn't really where PTA shines. So I want to ride this out because I think it's interesting, but I think we need to keep in mind towards like trying to use the system how it's best, like oriented for future scenes.
I mean,
I'll throw in
I would-
3. Oh, go ahead.
I would be fine with either there's no real conflict, or the conflict is actually not between the producer and the players, but purely between the player characters, and to see if the mechanics would support that.
I hear you. I think I do want to throw some cards. I'm just going to throw a smaller amount of cards, and we'll continue with the PvP aspect of it. And I'll just represent making terrible things happen. That's wow. That'll be my ankle. It's just to make your lives worse. I'm spending 3 out of my budget. And wait, what the heck? It's getting weird. There we go. I couldn't adjust the. Cool. All right, so I'm spending 3 out of my budget. How many? Do you bring any ISIL, any edges or connections?
So I have 3. I am going to. Can I bring in? I think this might be totally stupid and totally nix it if it's not going to work. But can I bring in my edge of untrained force user, where I'm actually like tapping in on wisdom rather than actual magical powers?
You definitely hinted towards ISIL speaking out of turn or something odd or different, and it seemed to be a little of the Jedi worldview. So I'm okay with it, actually.
Yeah. So 4. Yeah.
All right. G78, you start with screen presence of 2. Is there anything else you're bringing to bear?
Don't think anything fits, but I will play a fan mail. I do have a question though, because where do I have to put them? Do I have to put them in the cookie jar?
What are you doing?
I spent 1 fan mail. Is that
You
possible?
just reduce it off of, yeah, you totally can. So that would be a total of 3 for you. What do? You just reduce it out of yours. However, the
Yeah.
third card that you get, if it's red, then I'll get 1 back. But the way that our audience pool should work is we got 17 now. As someone gives fan mail out, they should be reducing the audience pool number. That 17, like if you were to give 1 out right now, you should go into the red circle, type in a 16, and then the player who got the fan mail should be watching the chat in Roll20, and they should increase their fan mail, which is not their screen presence. It would be the
Yeah, I get it.
okay, cool. I think I stole 2. Rook, earlier today, I think I actually stole 2 of your, when I was trying to set stuff up, 2 of your fan mail, because you.
I don't think. Okay, so the fan mail comes from the audience pool, right?
Yes.
Okay, I don't think I removed any reduced the audience pool at all for any fan mail I gave last session.
Okay, let's just drop it down to 10 then.
Yeah. So.
You give out a few each session, which is totally cool. It's what the game's built for. Awesome. So, good. You spent 1 fan mail, right? So you get a total of 3 cards, IG78. So, wow. I'm doing terrible. I have 1 red card, and I'm 8 high. 8 is the highest card I have. Okay, looks like ISIL. Good play. There's 3 red cards for you, IG78?
Yes, it is.
Wow. Okay. So, do you guys have more red cards than the producer? Yes. Is your highest card higher than the producer's? Yes. So I didn't make things worse. That's okay. So when we compare between the 2 of you to see who gets what they want, this is a character scene. It appears that IG78 has the highest card and the most red between the 2 of you. So you have more red cards than your opponent, yes, and your highest card's higher, yes, and with a character, it means that IG78, you resist your impulse, and everything goes your way. And for Isol, you give in to your impulse, but and there are consequences. Yeah, that's right. So it's the worst possible thing. So
So for how it looks like, so in my mind at least, which is a bit weird, but IG78 should have motivated you to like overcome your anxiety, to work harder, to ignore your faults, and to push through. That's what IG78 was saying. Don't accept failure. Strive for the best possible solution. So I don't know, maybe your reaction to that will be afterwards or something. But what IG78 is saying, and she takes the head back, and she puts it on her head, and she says, when we're doing the missions together, you always struck me as not willing to accept your own excellence. Like you were the one who freed the Wookiees. And I just want you to know that you need to be proud of yourself. You shouldn't be. There's this old saying that you shouldn't hide your light. I've read it somewhere, and I think you're hiding your light.
So Isol was trying to was demonstrating admiration, and kind of his little speech was like to pump you up, right? And then just with a few words, you just totally turned around what he said, and Isol just kind of like realizes what just happened, and like I imagine that this whole conversation happened in the time it took us from walking inside into the hallway, and then Isol just kind of looks like down at his soup, and then kind of it's like it's mostly empty, and he just kind of looks really really confused, and is like, yeah, you look, you have a great hat. I gotta go. I gotta go. And he turns the other way. Like we should be going this way, but he just kind of goes the other way, which is, and he like kind of just like almost like runs into somebody and or like runs into a robot or runs into like the wall, and it's like totally flustered and flabbergasted, and is just kind of, no, I got to get away from those compliments. But they're cooking in there.
Nice. I like it. I like it. Good result. Joshua, it is to you.
All right. So we didn't actually talk about what the plan that we decided to go with was. But I kind of want to put us down on the planet. So I'm going to say, and feel free to correct me if this is crazy, but I'm going to say that Isol and Rook are together in a better location of Isol's choosing, overlooking the plaza, and IG and Nil are down there planning to meet with Tanish. And so Isol and Rook have this little moment of plot, and I think Rook turns to Isol and says, I'm glad you put us together, Isol. I kind of worked towards this because we need to talk about Nil, and I think we should keep an eye on him. I'm worried that he's not exactly fully with the rebellion.
Is this I'm sorry. Is it sound like you were setting this plot, or are you saying you want to move the plot but setting it up as a character?
I think I want it to be a plot scene.
Okay, good.
Seeing if we can add some complications to this.
So presumably we're getting in position for the capture or rescue. And Nil wanted us to have the action occur in the cafe with possibly maximum casualties that would really spotlight the how terrible rebels are. And so my idea was to or Eisel's idea was to do it farther away from that, and have no explosives, which was or combat, which was his turn or idea. And so technically, you were not supposed to be with me. You were supposed to be with the other people at the cafe. So by being with me, you're definitely going against Nil.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think maybe I'm even not where I'm supposed to be. Like I left my post or something.
Okay. Yeah.
So we can work on that too. If makes sense.
So as I'm getting in position, and I'm like going, look, it might be interesting if you go over here, and I start trying to like, I'm ad-libbing a new strategy, given that you're with me now and not over there. And as I'm doing that, I'm like saying, like, look, we have to trust the Alliance. They put Nil in command, and I get what you're saying, but I don't know. I think that there's some I think there's some strategy that he's going on. He sounds doubtful, but he's definitely backing Nil.
There's just been too many moments of question in my mind, and I've got all of these conflicting emotions. I've got my own stuff to deal with. I don't need to be worrying about the leader of our rebel cell here on this hunk of junk in space, sending us on these missions where he's seems to be trying to maximize civilian casualties and things like this. I'm just confused. I wish they'd made you the leader of the cell.
Yeah, no. I'm just, we got to just do the best we can, within the constraints we have. I think that, I think we make a good team, and Nil had Nil established his plan. I had my critique, but IG7 came up with a good secondary strategy. So now he's trying to push whatever Eisel did like onto Nil, like Nil did it, and he's well, of course, our IG78 did based on what I was saying, but still, I think we're okay.
Just do me the one favor of keeping an eye on Nil. Just pay a little extra attention, and let's not tell him that I went off plan and came here to talk to you. Okay?
Yeah, no problem. I put my hand on your forearm, like from kind of the side, and I'm like, yeah.
Okay. I think together we can get through this.
It's the only way we can.
You see a troop of stormtroopers pass by in this little cafe, and eventually, as you guys are talking, Tanish DeRay comes out. He's wearing a vest, pair of black slacks, and a white shirt, and he has a messenger bag, and it seems like a little overstuffed for a person who's just heading down to the cafe to grab a bite to eat. Um, and he seems a little nervous. You see a bit of sweat at his brow, and he goes in and he sits down at one of the little cafe tables.
The stormtroopers are escorting him, right?
Nope. Just it's just a visual representation. Lots of stormtroopers around. Deal. Like they're just marching down the street. There's like a squad of them. They're kind of doing that type military quick march, heading down the little street here. And there are, it's like an outdoor cafe from the way I remember you guys setting up the meat. So you have a few land speeders that kind of zip overhead. It's industrial world. So there's not a whole lot of sunlight. There's a lot of artificial light down here near the ground. And this cafe is a little bit on the trendy side. We see some people that have some VR goggles like on, and they just sitting, food untended. And Tanish DeRay goes and grabs a little cafe table and sits there nervously awaiting his contact.
Can I say that, Pavel, if this doesn't work for you, let me know. But can I say that Rook's got the binoculars. He's looking through, and we see this like all these different readouts, because it's the future, Star Warsy binoculars. And as the stormtroopers walk by, Pavel like pulls a grenade out of his bag and kind of eyes them a little bit, as if maybe he wants to, still get a little bit of his plan in, on top of what ISIL has going on.
Okay. So wait, you're saying you're throwing down the possibility of tossing a grenade
essentially into a crowd as a distraction or something.
Oh my God. Okay.
Well, I mean, there's stormtroopers there too.
Yeah, sure. Just checking. All right.
Not saying he's gonna do it. I just putting that in the scene.
So, Nil Mao, who is meeting with this guy?
I think, well, the plan was that it would be Neil Mao and IG.
Right. Cool. Okay. Good. So you guys are waiting, and what's the question here? What's the question of this scene?
Yeah, I was thinking that the conflict was going to be whether Nil would kind of agree to keep things on the down low. Or, I'm sorry, whether ISIL would agree to keep things on the down low, like this conversation between, but that didn't end up really being a conflict. So,
okay.
Well, I mean, I think you gave an opportunity for ISIL to kind of bolster himself based on his conversation with IG-78. I thought the conflict would be: are we able to pause? Are we able to create, allow the capture of Tanish to occur in the alley or in the crowded area? Yeah.
Yeah, that works.
Let's put that out there. I'm interested in that. And I definitely want to get some cards on the table to see how things resolve between the overarching, which is Nil Mao's way or ISIL's way, the super violence. So I want violence. So I'm going to spend 4 cards here, my friends.
But the question is, what are you guys doing to attract? What is our target?
Tanish
to like come to this alley and not go to the cafe.
ISIL suggested this was his going down this one road was his regular route, and and so his idea was to initiate the extraction on his route rather than at the cafe. Does that make sense?
Okay, so the conflict is: are you two able to like grab him without being noticed by the stormtroopers? Because we need to frame conflict in a good way. Otherwise, it's like, meh.
Well, I think it's more, will Nil and IG actually do Isil's plan and grab him on the way, or is Nil going to do something else?
Well, except that Nil's not in the scene. I think it's
Yeah,
like, will you guys pull off? Will you kind of interrupt the way that Nil Mal wanted things to happen? It seems like if we're going for plot, right? Because the plot results, as we look at it, are for plot. You get what you want, or you don't get what you want, right? And what you guys wanted is, I think Rook wants to support Isil in his plan, and what Isil wants is to not make the rebellion look bad, but still gain an asset. Does that seem?
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's how I see it. Is it so? Does the capture fail at the cafe or succeed in the alley? Because Pavel obviously doesn't want us to capture the guy, right?
Yeah, seems like it. Good. So let's.
Do you buy that, Pavel?
Can I suggest something? Because I mean, you don't have any control about the outcome. Like whether or not is captured is up to IG-78 and Neil. That could be the next scene, for example. I mean, a conflict should be within your control. Like, I think what Pavel is trying to say, I hope you're trying to say that, is that what are you doing to make, the plan succeed or fail?
Yeah.
So for example, if Isil is running down, grabbing the guy, then we have, that could succeed. But you two guys talking wouldn't change the scene, like whether or not we go to the cafe and grab him, or we grab him in the alleyway.
And maybe I was connecting that dot that we hadn't explicitly stated. So we go to cards, and then I think you guys need to leap into action as plot, right? So you're going to be intersecting, trying to grab Tanish so that there isn't a huge loss of life and a blown op that might fail. Is that
yes. I kind of see it more like Nil like going, okay, now, like, do the move. But while the cafe area is totally packed, whereas Isil's like, wait, no, not yet, hold off. And so then it's like, it's kind of like, do we follow Nil or do we follow Isil? Does that make sense?
It makes sense, but it's kind of boring. Like, it's talking. I want shit to happen in Star Wars. So go shoot things.
Well, I like the more action oriented of like, will Isil and Rook do this thing that is kind of unexpected, right? So I was just having trouble with what the plan actually was before we try to get in the way of it.
And I think that's definitely something for us to talk about after the fact. Like, that got muddy, and I should have clarified. So I think that the plan is the Nil Mal wanted to extract him, but do it in a very visible way, causing damage, causing the rebellions to look like a bunch of terrorists. But Isil had argued against it, and it seemed like you guys generally went out loud with what Nil Mal had said. Nobody 100% accepted Isil's plan. So now Isil's here with you. The two of you are saying, let's try the other plan. Rook said, hey, I'm supporting you. I wish you'd been the leader. Let's try this other way. We can just grab him right now. I kind of feel like that's a nice plot that kind of enforces let's try it Isil's way. So let's give that one a shot. You guys good with it? And hopefully we clarified to where we can get things on track. All right. So Isol, you start with screen presence of 3. Do you have any other edges? I think Rebel Soldier, but by the way, I was rereading through the rules. Your edges and connections can be used a number of times up to your screen presence before they have to be refreshed. So you can reuse your Rebel Soldier edge if you. I feel it's appropriate. Do you have any other edges or connections you want to bring to bear?
The force.
Okay.
I'm a force user. Yeah. So those 2.
Okay, cool. So that's a total of 5 cards coming to you. Rook. Screen presence of 1. Do you have any edges or connections that could come to bear?
I don't think so. Since Isol and Rook are having the same thing here, are my cards just going to go into the same pool as his, kind of?
If that's what you want.
I think that makes sense.
Good. And then good question for Pavel. How are we seeing the force? I definitely want that color there. And I 100% approve using the force to do things here. What are you imagining? Is that a thing that will wrap up in how things go, or what's the general force application here?
I'm thinking that it's going to be more along the lines of, how we like. I see him like dragging Dinesh out of the way, and possibly even using it to save people. Just kind of trying to help using the force to manage the actual physical situation.
Okay, so he's using some force push. That's terrifying, and I love it. Okay, good. Any fan mail coming in from IG78 or from Nil Mao to push things one way or the other?
Of course, I will throw 2 cards your way, Rich.
Yes.
I just want this thing to get out of control.
It's coming my way.
2 fan mail from IG78 for Isol's cause. Okay. I want things to be calm and quiet and smooth.
All right. So everybody is in on this, and I like it, but I appreciate you guys framing it around effectively one conflict, producer versus players. Oh, goodness gracious. I only have 5 cards, but 3 of them are red, my friends. Ace of Hearts, suckers. All right, so Nil Mal, you gave me a 4th red card, but there are 5 red cards for Aisha's side. Ace of Clubs. Oh, man, dang it. I thought my Ace of Hearts had you, but we go alphabetically, so Clubs is before Hearts. Oh! Foiled! All right. You have more red cards than the producer. Your highest card's higher than the producer. It is a yes, and this is a plot scene. So you get what you want, and you keep it together. Isol, with support from IG78, if so be, and definitely support from Rook. What does it look like as you guys get Tanish out of here without alerting, without causing a whole lot of death and dismay? Give us the rundown, Isol.
So Nil and IG78 walk into the cafe, and Tanish is sitting at a table, nervously eating some food, but is really just kind of pushing food around. And Nil walks up to him and walks up to the table and kind of taps on the table 3 times or something like that. And Tanish just kind of freezes and grabs his bag and starts walking out the door. and as soon as he steps out, the Nil and IG-78 um, follow up behind him, and um, um, uh, as Tanish is going out, he just starts walking in the middle of just this crowd of civilians, just like walking through this crowd of civilians, and that's when Nil, like before he goes through the crowd of civilians, Nil kind of like goes to say now, but like kind of fumbles and then says now, like right when he goes into the crowd. Does that, Pavel, is that cool with you? That he like kind of faked this delay?
Do whatever you like.
Yeah. Okay. And so as he says now, uh, uh, Isol's like, no, no, hold, and then everybody like kind of looks around confused, but then they hold. I mean, that kind of confusion, and it gives him enough. It gives Tenesh enough time to get through the crowd and like kind of reaching the edge of the 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 alleyway, and um, and Nil's like now, or like, and he pulls out like a grenade, um, and IG-78 like stops him and grabs his own grenade and throws his own grenade, and a whole bunch of people, and everybody realizes it's actually a stun grenade that just kind of drops like a whole like troop of stormtroopers and some civilians, but no death or carnage. But it was just very well placed launch of this stun grenade. Maybe like two or three grenades were just like do do do. Meanwhile, Isol um, like jumps like really high up onto some um, like some trash heap type like barrels, and just like kind of rips Tinesh forward like right into Rook's arms, just like rips him right into his arms, and then scoots everybody away. So there's this path, like this straight path for IG-78 um, and Nil to make like a straight shot to their exit route, and then Rook just grabs Tinesh, like just kind of just grabs him and like picks him up in bodily, and Rook and um, Isol just run down their exit route.
Okay, cool. So, and you guys split. You part the Red Sea. We have like the weird bit of like the Imperial March, dun dun dun, dun, and then this Rebel Alliance music that kind of supersedes over it as you break out with some crazy force maneuvers. And Rook grabs Tanish. You guys are able to get out, and that will close our scene. Where we are with time, I would like to take our kind of intermission, take a break here, our bio break. It's 43 after 17 till. Let's go ahead and make it a 7 minute, 6 minute or so break, and we'll be to 10 till. See you guys in a bit.
Commercial break.
Hello, sir.
Hello. I was yelling at my son to be quieter. This is very much proving to me that having kids spend the night on Friday night is not going to work.
It's almost 8 o'clock in the morning here. This game starts at 6 o'clock in the morning in Pacific Standard Time, and my family is starting to complain that I'm waking them up. So I have to keep my voice down, but I don't know if I can.
Okay.
I'll do the best.
Good luck.
Yeah.
Alejandro, can I ask? Your room is like very interestingly decorated. Is this like your workroom or something? Or...
Actually, that's my kitchen table right
Okay.
there, and that's just the thing behind me is just some really weird, like, cabinetry kind of curio thing that's built into the wall that's totally non-functional. All the drawers are too small, and it's just, yeah.
And then the map is just
That's the map of national parks of the United States. I hope someday to do the Triple Crown of doing the Pacific Crest Trail, the Appalachian Trail, and the Continental Divide Trail.
Oh,
someday.
awesome.
Yeah.
My sister's done the Pacific Crest Trail a couple times.
Oh,
She
wow.
loved it.
Wow, that's fantastic. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Where do you live?
I live in Dallas,
Okay.
but she lives in California now.
Okay. High five her for me. A couple of times.
I will.
Alright.
Cool. Oh, I see here from Pavel that you got a red card, so let me go ahead and add that back to my budget. Back. Hope everybody had a good little break. We saw some really cool commercials from, because this is on Druckenwell, that we have Blast Tech had a thing of, stop those criminals, stop them dead with Blast Tech. And there's like a bit from the Empire. There was a commercial from the Empire about join now. It's one of those like, I can get money for school and other things like that. So I think I'm just going to recall all the cards. There we go.
Pavel, I want to apologize if we're like forcing you down this villainous road. I know you had the turn at the end of last session, but if you don't want, Nil to be like super bad guy, totally cool with that. You do what works for Nil.
Well, the system doesn't support me with just one card this session, so I can't be.
You don't have a whole lot.
I can be like the Darth Vader sidekick, and
Okay. It's definitely something to think about, though. Yeah. All right. Let's pick it up again. We're back from our commercial break, and Horst.
Wait.
Yes.
Really quick, I want to follow up on what Joshua just said. Pavel, you don't. We're not removing your agency, though, right? I mean, that's right.
all I'm doing is to push ISO into doing some tough choices. So
okay, perfect. Yeah,
that's what I'm doing.
Okay.
Cool. Okay. Thanks for the check-in, guys. That's important. All right. Let's go to Horst. Would you like a character scene or plus scene?
So remind me, if you will, what were the next time on
God,
Star
that's
Wars?
a great point. Oh, I have completely flubbed that.
I have the one with Isel, maybe or maybe not raising his spaceship out of maybe a swamp.
Yeah, that terrible job. Oh no. Next time, look through my. Let's see.
I can't remember the other ones.
Oh yeah, that's from like several sessions ago. I felt said we didn't get paid for this. I'm like, oh wait, we did that.
I mean, I could also make a scene with Tenish, with just like a character scene for IG-78 with Tenish and Kashi.
Okay.
You can't find.
Oh yeah,
you can't
I
find her.
cannot. I really blew it.
That's okay.
Oh,
so
does this sound right? Yes, I think it is. Nil to ISIL meeting room. I have a very secret assignment for you. A forest planet with Rook and Nil Mal. What do you think, ISIL? Let's see. ISIL in the cockpit of the Ark. We did that one. ISIL walking down a hall, followed by Wookiees. You don't owe me. Okay. All right. So I found them. Yay. Late in the game. Sorry. Crap. Yeah. So there you go. I'm Horst. It is back to you. What do you want to do?
I think. Yeah, I think the idea with the character scene. It's just IG-78. The newly freed Tenish and Kashi, and the backdrop is Kashi's droid repair workshop.
Ooh, cool. All right. So did you say this was character?
Mm-hmm.
All right. And we've got Tanish and Kashi. Okay. The droid repair. Cool. So how does the scene start off? Do you think it's a thing where you bring Tanish, or they already met each other and IG-78 comes along to check?
Yeah, I think it would be probably more interesting when if Tanish is already there. Tanish and Kashi are what's it called? Hunched over, like maybe a half assembled droid. And they're talking like Tanish is pointing out a certain spot, and then Kashi says, "No, this is impossible," and they're discussing. And when IG-78 comes in.
Nice. Okay. We start off with Kasky saying, No, you can't do that. That supersedes the core programming. And Tanish says, You don't understand. That's exactly what we're trying to do by superseding the core programming. The restraining bolt no longer has a hold. Here, watch. And then he pulls up a little indicator and he presses a button. We hear and then the droid starts to move a little bit. And Kasky says, that makes no sense. He says, I don't care. It's working. And they look up and he says, Here, let's put a restraining bolt on IG-78. Don't worry. It'll come right off. Kasky's like, I don't think you should do that to her.
And IG-78 says, I would like to test my limits. Maybe I can fight against the bolt in any way. I mean, you can if you want to ignore your primal urge. Why shouldn't I be able to?
Tanish says, Oh, that none of my research supports that, but sure. And we'll free you in a minute. And Kasky says, Okay. And she takes this little like bolt gun, right? And it's got at the end of it, it's got the little restraining bolt. And she puts it up to your chassis. She says, Are you sure, IG-78?
Hit me.
And then we hear and ka-chunk, we have the restraining bolt, like the ugly, like almost iris sticking out of it. And there's a great deal of information. All of your circuits start to align, and the restraining bolt in particular is set to create a perimeter that you can't exit the shop itself.
And is there anything else in the program? Like, can she act in any way unless she's trying to leave the workshop?
Yeah. Is it more interesting if there's something more? Like, I mean, I would imagine a restraining bolt, as I recall it from the canon, and of course we can expand that canon, is just you can't run away, right?
Mhm.
It keeps you within particular parameters. Yeah. Do you think that it's a thing where it's complete paralysis that she's under?
I'm trying to recall the. I mean, R2D2 had this bolt
Mm-hmm.
in
And
a scene. I
R2D2 was
remember.
the restraining bolt seemed like it kept R2D2 from hiding and deleting files on his mainframe, right?
Mhm.
And it also had to do with R2D2 running away, because if the restraining bolt hadn't been there, or once it was removed, R2D2 ran off to try to find Obi-Wan.
Yeah. So yeah, I think it's cool if it's just restraining her in the workshop.
Okay. Cool. Yeah. So the restraining bolt is very likely. Kasky wouldn't want to create something that makes droids do things that she finds objectionable. Not that she's heavy on the droid rights, but still she works with them.
Yeah. And so IG-78 turns in her uncanny way, like just the upper body in a 360, and then is trying to move outside of the workshop. And I mean, if it's within the realms of possibility, the conflict could be: can she, through pure will, overcome that restriction?
I think that's really interesting, and it's definitely a character thing. Let's do that. I want this to hurt, so I'm spending 4.
Cool. I'm spending, let's see. Definitely. So I have the 2 screen presents.
You do?
I'm spending 2 the 2 remaining fan mail.
Okay.
And I guess that her being a reprogrammed droid, like my Edge's conflicted former assassin, sounds like it plays into the scene
too.
one way or the other.
All right. So 5 cards total.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll check in with the other players. Anyone want to chip in some fan mail one way or the other?
I'll do one since Rook's been supporting IG this whole time, so I'll throw in a fan mail.
All right. So that'll be 1 card to Rook that you're giving to IG, and that's fan mail. So remember, IG, the last 2 cards of your 5 are fan mail. So if they're red, let me know. Anybody else?
Yeah, I want to throw in a fan mail.
All right. Sweet. So real quick, Rook, is your card red?
Yes.
Okay. Alejandro, Isol, is your card red? And then the last 2 of yours, IG-78, are they red?
The last one is red.
All right, so that's 2 back to me. Beautiful. All right, now I'm going to look at cards. I'm so excited. So excited. All right. I did shuffle, so there are lots of opportunities. I have 1 red, my friends.
I have 3 reds. And my highest is what is it?
Looks like a queen.
Oh yeah, there's the queen.
So we framed this as a character. Do you have more red cards? Absolutely. Is your highest card higher? No. So you get a yes, but
Awesome.
you resist your impulse, but there's a silver lining. Ooh, interesting. So the impulse at this bit is your core impulse, which is
Aggression.
Aggressiveness. Interesting. Okay.
So I do get what I want.
Yeah.
I don't become aggressive, but there's a silver lining.
No. It's a character scene. So you resist your impulse, but there's a silver lining.
No, I think it's yes, but you resist your impulse, but there are consequences.
You're right. I jumped down to the no. Thank you. You resist your impulse, but there are consequences. Thank you. Oh God, I was like, this doesn't make sense. Okay. Thank you very much, Alejandro. You saved us from more confusion.
So she would be able to leave the workshop. Yes. She's not becoming aggressive, but there are consequences. That's perfect.
Yeah. So what is that? I think I've got an idea for consequences.
Oh, awesome. Then I just narrate the result. So when IG-78 approaches the door to the workshop, she starts shaking. There's like this physical struggle against the bolt. Her steps slow down, and then all the red lamps that are placed in irregular patterns on her head start flashing, and you see these metal claws releasing and tightening. And then she just makes the step outside of the workshop.
We hear Tanish gasp, and Kasky lets out a little shrill, like, I told you. See, IG-78 is different. She's different. And so there you are. You still feel the pull. But then we cut away from this to Nil Mao, who is watching what is transpiring, and the consequences are dire because now there's someone who's aware of some kind of possibility of droids resisting restraining bolts, and that you've been unable to foil this Nil Mao. So I think the consequences are that your handler, who I have to quickly look up the name, is Garo, sends you a quick communication of Tanish needs to die. Confirm.
Message received.
Cool. So that is interesting. So we will circle back around to Nil Mao. It is your scene. Do you want a character or plot?
Now that you gave me this communication, I have no idea how to phrase it so that it's not some kind of PvP scene.
Okay.
I have no idea how to phrase it.
Okay. Well, I mean, what do you want? And we'll talk it through.
So let's, because it's like last 15 minutes, it's time to boil things to the extreme. So So I think we cut to the shot of STS Archmage, like flying away from this planet, and then we see like Neil and Captain Bondo on the bridge, and they are both talking to some Imperial officer who just like tells them to like slow down because the Imperial control that we are prepared to be boarded, to be boarded because there is inspection coming. We are suspected for being a rebel ship. If we try to escape, we will be shot. And me and Captain Bondo are there like trying to like explain to them that no, this is like ridiculous. We are like under like this like trade protection, working for this legal company that can look everything up, and because you teased it at the very beginning, we see the Imperial officer being like removed, and some figure in some dark robes just like stands in the screen and just like says, "Prepare to get boarded." And I think that's what we see like Niels do, because yeah, he doesn't know, because he knows that his authority isn't over this guy, so that yeah. So I think what we will see Neil do is like he will try to like get as quickly as possible and maybe like out, so that to buy some time to prepare for this incoming boarding. Like this, I think it would be very interesting if the Imperial troops and this guy board our ship. But the question maybe is like, are we able to like prepare for this, or are they're just like just upon us? Maybe that's an interesting conflict.
Okay, and this is plot, so
yeah, definitely.
I mean, I guess the question is, do you give your team any kind of warning, right? Or the question is, you guys are being boarded. Are you able to? Are they caught with the like red-handed? Is Tanish outed as an escapee? Like there's a whole lot of different stakes that we can have here. This is terrible. I love it.
Yeah, I don't know. What stakes do you think are the most appropriate over here?
Well, Tanish was just introduced. I don't think anybody has like an emotional connection to them. I think putting the team at risk is what's most interesting to me. And since it's Isil's spotlight episode, and Isil's the one who went against you, Isil getting outed could be interesting.
Yeah, but I'm not sure how can I have conflict about this?
So
I can have conflict whether
I mean, I guess I don't understand. Like, not understand, but like, it's up to you. How is Nilmal still conflicted? If so, it's losing someone who's still trying to do in their mind the right thing. Is Nilmal someone who doesn't want his rebel cell to be taken down this early when you could do more?
Yeah. That's what I'm like thinking. That yes, so Nilmal wants to like delay this boarding to buy his crewmates some time, because he knows that if this guy's like boards us unprepared, he will find evidence, and this like entire operation is down, and he wants to like continue this operation. So yeah, in this part, I would like delay the boarding as much as possible, so that in later scenes we are like prepared to be boarded and not unprepared, caught with our pants down. So I suppose that this involves like trying to fly faster than like safety limits and trying to like handle the pulling force of the planet and like escape it as quickly as possible. More like this kind of like things.
Nice. Okay, so you're just trying to you're delaying the inevitable so that people have time to prepare.
Yes.
That sounds like a terrible idea, and I'm a very big fan of it. Sweet. So I think the conflict is, are you able to do that without causing an outright you getting shot at?
Yeah. Success is delay. I want this thing to happen anyway, because I think it will be cool boiling point. Unless you don't want it. I love
it. That is really cool. I was about to use a name that now I realize might not be even expanded universe. hold on. I'm gonna give me just one moment, but you've given me the idea for a thing, so I wanted to look at a thing.
I'm sure IG-78 needs to be eliminated too. Amazing.
Okay, cool. Let's see here. I don't think. Okay, sweet. So the person that we hear over the as you're starting to leave, as you're trying to running interference and escaping, getting out of dock, and the Archmage is trying to position himself out to jump to light speed, but because there are gravity wells of the planet itself, as well as this being heavy Imperial, there are gravity well generator ships, so you're just trying to navigate that, and that is when the person who's in command of the Imperial interceptor that is trying to come, he informs you that he says, I'm sorry, sir. Special attaché Starkiller insists that you cease and desist. And so that's how that goes. And so let's go to cards. I'm excited to see if you get away with this crazy plan. Sweet. So I'm spinning. Man, I really want this to be terrible. I'm spinning 5 cards.
Oh my gosh!
I'm gonna demolish you. And your pitiful screen presence of 1.
Yeah, I'm like prepared to be crushed, but I'm going to call my edge. Imperial Starfighter pilot. I know how to take ship quickly out of the orbit, and also Captain, and also we see Captain Bondo because we don't see him on the screen very often, and I'm just like Captain is like, try to talk to them, delay them. We can get away. Just like, I don't know, pull on some laws. They cannot just board us.
Right. And he like flips open a data pad and he starts rattling off. According to Section 43, we've already gone through the protocols and he's just screaming all this out. So you pilot, you have screen presence of 1, and anything else here.
Captain Bondo, he's my connection.
So. Oh, and Bondo, your connection. Awesome. So 3 total cards. Spinning any fan mail?
Nope.
All right. We have any fan mail coming from other folks who want to help out poor Neil Mao?
I think I'll give one to Neil Mao.
There you go. I haven't even looked at my cards, so I don't know how fruitful your assistance will be, my friends. Is that it? Go once, going twice? All right, I'm going to look at my cards. Rook, is your card red?
Yes, it is.
Okay. I love it.
I'm seeing some super high cards, like 7. Oh, a 9. Ace. We were eaten.
Let's see here. Okay, so you guys had 3 red cards. That's pretty great for as few cards as you flipped. So it looks like I have more red than you, and I have a higher card. This was a plot seat, and you do not have more red cards, and your highest card is not. So it's a no and on plot. You don't get what you want, and your impulse is provoked. Oh goodness! Oh goodness! That sounds really, really neat. So yeah, I think I know exactly what happens when you don't get what you want. So I'll just lead off with that, and then we'll figure out how your impulse is provoked. This interceptor, it's not a TIE interceptor. No, Starkiller would definitely be on some kind of Star Destroyer. So it's a sleek, smaller Star Destroyer. It is effectively like it's a heavy class frigate, and it fires on you. Like you get past the first gravity well, you start to lock in light speed coordinates, and one of your engines is taken out from heavy fire, and we see the screaming sound, or hear the screaming sound of TIE fighters as they are heading forward, and then Starkiller himself says, "Prepare to be boarded." So your impulse is triggered. What do you do?
Yeah, in the earlier episode it was super easy. This time is coming up very hard. Dishonest and ruthless.
I mean, ruthless. You want to don't you want to destroy like the evidence that you are a spy, or what is what do you fear the most?
Excuse me.
Like the fact that we are boarded is bad because
he wants to like continue this mission of like building the bad reputation for the rebellion, and like trying to get like the higher target than just like 4 lousy rebels. He wants to, get back and be promoted for like exposing Mad Math mallocation. So yeah, I'm just like kind of like thinking. What could
I mean, this ruthless could be like blowing up shit in order to allow us to flee, for example, destroy the ship or something.
I mean, yeah, so Ruthless could be selling out one to save the rest. It could be exactly like returning fire. He's starting a full-on fight, which is going to make all of the Archmage crew wanted by the Empire.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, let's go with it. So even though it's like probably pointless, I think like Niels left like hits the button and turns on like the poor ship automated defenses. So we see the turrets starting to fire at the incoming TIE fighters and troop transport. So probably we are only being like fired even more upon, so that to like destroy our guns. And he just like, no, you do not board my ship, no. And he just like turns on this turrets, and they're like, yeah, and we get like even more damaged or something like this.
Nice. I think Jeffter Halskip, the security chief, we have him, and he's like, oh god. And several TIE fighters blow up as the freighter heads forward, and you hit the point of being able to go into light speed. And I assume you take it. Like this Bondo would basically tell you to punch it if you have to. And what we see is the Archmage taking off into light speed, and we see an Imperial shuttle being swept along in the arc. And then as you guys are in light speed, we see the kind of Starfield streaking by. That Imperial shuttle boards and like forces his way into one of the hangars of the Archmage. You hear the Imperial march. Cool. So that was exciting and unexpected. It is Isil's scene. Do you like a character scene or a plot scene?
Both.
Is it more about getting something done that you want your character to accomplish, or are you more interested in exploring his issue and trying to bring that to a resolution, which I think is important? This is probably the last scene you'll get to frame.
Yeah, I think it's that one. That last.
Cool.
Yeah.
So then it's a character scene. Where's this at? What are the scene ingredients?
So it's reminiscent of the opening scene of Star Wars, The New Hope. So there's the hallway and the doorway and the sparks and the smoke, and then along the hallways there's all these rebels hanging out along the hallway, just kind of these little alcoves, and there's Isil kind of at the front, blaster at the ready, and right behind them, there's there's 4 Wookiees standing right behind them, like in a row.
Nice. Nice. I love it. They're all like beating their chests, and they've got hand weapons because there aren't a whole lot of blasters around.
I don't know. I don't know if Rook or IG-78 would be in this scene or not. So
It's up to you. It's your scene.
yeah, I know, but they're not. They don't want to be combatants. So, I
Okay.
mean, I'm sure Nil would have ordered them to be there, knowing that they would resist. But I don't know. Just throwing that out there. But it's totally up to them if they want to be in the scene or not. So, if they see their characters being in the scene.
Okay. So you guys, we will carry forward. The Wookiees, one of them says, come, we will meet them. They are in the hangar. We're willing to die for you, Isol. One of them roars.
And Isol like hesitates. He's like, no, it's for the rebellion.
And the female, Yakark's mate, says, puts a hand on your shoulder and says, no, it's for you. Rebellions come and go. We owe you a life debt.
He like they all start like all the other rebels start rushing in, and Isol's like, let's go. And like doesn't reject it. Just, let's
Sweet.
go.
Cool. So you guys come in, we see the hangar. Like, do you want to like be coming into the hangar, like to try to repel? So we see some of of course, these are not your normal stormtroopers, right? It's got to be stormtroopers with cooler stuff so we can sell their action figures. So I'm thinking they look akin to, do you remember the I can't remember what they were called off the top of my head, but the jet black stormtroopers that ran around in Rogue One. So imagine stormtroopers, except they're wearing black armor. Yeah, Death Troopers. That sounds cool. And then an Imperial Guardsman, because those guys are so dope. Imperial Guards, remember the bright red ones? And then we see Star Killer come down, and he's got the twin-bladed lightsabers. And immediately the security team is like firing on these guys, because at this point it doesn't matter if you're rebel or not, you're considered one. So even Halskip is going to throw in on this, and we see all kinds of lasers, red lasers coming out from the Imperial shuttle that's now landed, and then of course varying blues and greens are headed towards them as they try to take cover. Isol, these Wookiees are at your side. They're effectively your squad for now. What are you doing, Isol?
Yeah, they actually like kind of start 2 on each side. Yeah, I'm getting to that, Pavel. We have the 2 Wookiees run each, like just run forward, and Isol's just like really settled. Isol really like starts to settle in, but pulls out a little knit cap, and he puts the little knit cap on his head. And
oh, that's good. That's good.
And runs forward and starts shooting. And then the Rodian appears, and it turns out, and then he just kind of like, so as he's running forward, the Rodian kind of moves forward and kind of melds with Isol, kind of handing him Isol the Rodian's lightsaber. So he like drops the sword and hands him. And so what I'm trying to imply is that the Rodian wasn't actually there. He was there in like spirit form.
Ooh, neat.
And as he melds with Isol, you hear his voice in Isol's head saying, trust the Force, and we will support you. So as he's, so the spirit form is augmenting my control and ability rather than it being totally me because I'm an untrained Jedi or untrained.
Oh,
Whatever.
that's fine. And the training's just to get you to believe in yourself. Because Rey, she threw down moments after getting her first lightsaber. So
Yeah.
we'll see how this goes. This sounds amazing. Star Killer comes forward. He's got the twin-bladed red lightsabers, and yeah, this is ugly. So we have this as a character scene, which means that your impulse is to be impulsive. Interesting. And your issue is about being anxious about having a place in the world. Feels like you might be accepting that. I am going to spend 30 minutes. All right, I'm spending 5.
Excellent.
Crazy. How can I not spend 5? This is a lightsaber duel.
Yeah.
You know, in the year plus of running Star Wars Saturdays, the number of lightsaber duels that have taken place in our games is incredibly low.
That's a crime.
No, it's not. It's wonderful. Because it should be important, not something that happens every month. All right.
Sure. So I'm using my Rebel Soldier, my unused Force User, and my connection.
All right. That gives you a total of 6, doesn't it?
Yep, 6.
Any fan mail?
Yeah. I'm gonna, just because I really want to kick ass right now. It's my last scene. I want to use. Why can't my fan mail pop up? Oh, there it is. So I have 7 fan mail. This is the last game, right? We're not doing another game. Right?
This is it.
Yeah. So I'm gonna use, with the 4 fan mail.
That's 10 cards?
Yeah. Why not? Go for broke. I could use 7. I mean, it's.
No, I've already dealt the cards, buddy. Too late.
Right.
Anybody throwing any cards either way?
I mean, for the sake of an epic fight, I give Death Killer, which is a cool name, 1 fan mail.
Okay. Oh, it's actually Star Killer. Sorry, we had Death Trooper. It's Star Killer.
My apologies to Star Killer.
How dare you mess up Star Killer's name? He's coming after you next.
Yeah, I will give Star Killer also 1 for the how awesome this duel will be.
All right, this sounds amazing. Rook, are you good? Are you sitting pat? All right. Oh my goodness, I've never seen this many cards thrown ever in any PTA game. Oh, I got a Joker, so I need to redeal myself 1 card. Just to show it, there was my Joker. Oh my god, I just dealt myself the other Joker, so I'll deal myself 1 more card. I'm not cheating, guys, I promise. If it were, I would do better than that. Crapping. Any red cards from those fan mails? No?
It's the last 4. I have 1 red card.
Okay. And Horse Cheers was not red? All right, cool.
No, I was muted, sorry. Mine is also red.
Oh, good. So that's 1 more to me. So I'm back up to 7. Oh, I love that rule. Okay, good. Let me go ahead and move those 2 away. Was this 8? Is this to me? Oh, beautiful. All right, friends. I am 4 red cards. Is that? I guess still be resolved. Where's your cards? Still pulling them? All right, there we are. Oh, that looks good. Wow, look at all those red cards. Wow. Okay. So I'm sorry. Anyone watching the video, just me going wow over and over as you guys reveal cards. It's super exciting for me though. I'm sorry. I probably should have shared screens because this was kind of fucking big. Let me go ahead and share screens as we talk this through. So we have for ISIL 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 red cards against my 4 red cards. These are all discards. Actually, I think I can flip those over. Flip cards. Oh, it does it one by one. Oh, well, screw you. And ace of clubs high against my king. Holy cats, that's amazing. Do you have more red cards than the producer? Yes. Is your highest card higher than the producer? Yes. This was a character scene. You get a yes and. You resist your impulse being impulsive and making rash, unwise actions. And everything goes your way. Star Killer, I have a picture up for him. Oh, it's kind of a small picture. Oh, there's no bigger version of that. Anyway, Star Killer is human because you know, people wanted to use an attractive guy for the video game. And he's from the Force Unleashed game. And yeah, he has very close crop hair, intense eyes, and he has some scarring that has taken place over the years as he has had to hunt down other Jedi. And he comes forward. I think, I'm sorry, one of the Wookiees probably needs to get lightsabered here because we need to have that red shirt Star Trek thing. So a Wookiee comes running up on him, and he just, and it's Star Wars, so it's an arm. Like he chops off one of the arms. I'll hand it to you, Rook. Is it your Kark's mate? Is it your uncle? Or
I feel like it's got to be my uncle. I mean, we just rescued him, so
poor guy. He is so.
He doesn't have to be dead, but
yeah. So it's like whoa, and lops off his arm. And he roars in pain, falls back, and then it is to you, ISIL, again. You resist your impulse for unwise, impulsive actions, and everything goes your way. What happens?
So as the blaster fight is blasting, the ISIL and Starkiller start closing in. The Wookiees come in and try to like engage Starkiller, and he just sweeps two away this way. The other one, he slices his arm, and then the other Wookiee gets caught up in some other like side gun battle thing. And then as soon as ISIL sees the arm get chopped off, he just goes into this furious, impulsive, just like like just totally attacking Starkiller, who Starkiller is just kind of just casually just putting it aside. And then you hear the voice of the Rodian, "Trust the Force, ISIL." And then with that, Starkiller, his lightsaber like goes over his head and burns the knit cap, and ISIL kind of like steps back and like adjusts the cap, and there's a big giant like hole in it. He adjusts the cap, and then he just kind of settles in to the like stance and just goes in, and just somehow perhaps, you know, on some vid screens, people just see all of a sudden this tiny Bothan is fighting Starkiller and is holding his own. And as he's doing that, you can see this kind of shadow that doesn't belong, but it's kind of there. Like it's a misplaced shadow around the Bothan. And as they're fighting, it just, he like Starkiller all of a sudden just starts kind of slowly backing up, and ISIL's is like pushing them forward. There's no way that ISIL can win this could defeat Starkiller. So his like last movement is he just kind of like lets go of the of the lightsabers. He's holding it with one hand, like blocking it, and like kind of like losing the grip. And with his other hand, he just makes a fist and like thrusts his hand forward, and like all this, like most of the stormtroopers and Starkiller just get thrown back into the pod that they came in on, and then ISO does it again, and the pod just like rips off of our ship and like disengages, and like shields come into play as everybody's getting vacuumed into space from both ships. The shields go into place, stopping the vacuum, and they just break apart, and the pod drops out of hyperspace.
Yeah. I was about to say it wasn't. Yeah, it would not have any. So it just kind of bounces across in the cone or the tunnel that you guys have kind of effectively created in hyperspace, and then drops out. Wow, yeah. That is terrifying.
And then ISL just drops to his knees and is just heaving and heaving.
Yeah. I love it. Rook. It was wonderful. I am so happy with that scene. Rook, it is your scene.
I have no idea how to follow that.
It can always be like aftermath, dealing with things. We can jump far ahead. It could be Kashyyyk. We could fulfill that next time on with you guys landing on Kashyyyk to hand off your uncle, who's really had a rough life since you've come in. I just want to say.
Yeah. So I kind of want to
find a high action moment. We could also have a more reflective moment, a quiet moment. It can be wherever you want to take it, man.
Yeah, I kind of want another scene where we see ISIL kind of like solidify his de facto role as like the leader of the rebel cell, even though maybe Nil Mao is still technically in charge. So maybe like we can do that, like a planning scene, and just for ISIL's sake, let's say that we have like a little piece of text on the bottom that says Bothawi, like we're on the planet Bothawi, which is where the Bothans are from.
Oh, cool.
And we're like at a spaceport. You can see our small shuttle docked there, and we're kind of like planning, and Rook and Nil Mao are arguing about something, about how to do it, and I think then ISIL and IG will kind of like step in, and ISIL especially will assert his way. So I think we're here to take out an Imperial target, since that went so well for us last time. And Rook says to Nil Mao, Nil, last time we did this, it did not go well. We can't just set up a position and take this guy out. Like, we're not going to do the same thing and make the same mistakes we did last time.
Of course, no. That's why this time we are doing this more quietly. We will just like set up this guys here and just take them in a quick crossfire. No explosions, no sniper shots. As you know, quick ambush.
I don't know. There's really not any character stuff I want to particularly resolve, so I guess it would be a plot scene.
Okay, so that's good.
And so Rook turns to ISIL and says, ISIL, you've done so great recently. I mean, we don't even need to talk about the defense of the Archmage. I think we've all praised you for that. Great job. What do you think we should do?
He adjusts his hat, like his burnt knit cap, and which I imagine is pink with one bunny ear, and he says, "Nil does have command, but as we've all learned, our strengths are working as equals, and I think we all put in make our suggestions, and we vote."
That's a fantastic idea. Should the conflict be whether this all goes off democratically or whether we kind of have a final little breakdown in the cell?
I think so. I like that. The idea of like, do you guys find this new way forward, or is this the breaking point? Yeah. So I think I'm breaking point. So that's
Sounds
what
good.
I'm pushing for. If you don't get what you want, because this is plot, then I'm breaking up the team. It's all over.
I think that's a good thing to maybe end on.
Yeah, I think
Although
so. Screw it. I'm spending 4.
I've got 1, and I will spend my last fan mail.
Bring anything else in, Rook, or just those 2?
I think performer kind of makes sense here because I'm trying to get my way, and also my way in this case involves me getting a say in how these missions go off so that I can continue to help the rebellion without constantly killing people.
All right. So how many are you spending?
So I've got 1 + 1 fan mail and then 1 edge, so 3 total.
3. Okay. I just didn't hear how many fan mail you were spending. Sorry.
Oh, gotcha.
Who
How
wants
many-
this?
How many can we, if we're supporting, how many fan mail can we support with? Is there a limit?
I don't think there's a limit.
Well, then this is the last scene of the game.
Yeah, I think we're going to do epilogues after this. So
Okay.
this is the last scene of the game.
I'll give him my last 3 fan mail.
Well, that's pretty special. Look at you with all your fan mail. Dang it. I love it. That's awesome. All right, there you go.
I'm sorry, I just got a fan mail a little while ago. So last 4 fan mail.
Oh, I see. I thought you were going to do one less. Fine. What about Neil Mao? Are you spending any?
I'm really thinking what would be. Yeah, it's me spending, not Neil. Yeah, let's even the odds. I will give you the 2. I'm really curious to see
2?
how this ends.
Okay.
I'm giving you also 2. I want to see the team breaking up, which is a dramatic ending.
All right. I hope you guys give me some good reds, because I have 3, and I don't know how well that's going to go against these guys. Not very high on cards. Ugh, my card is a 10. Oh, look at all those reds from IG78. That gives me 2 more right there. And then Nil's another one, so that give me another. Boy, if we weren't out of time, I'd have a whole refresh budget. Thanks, guys. How many of those? Oh, by the way, so for Alejandro, all your cards were fan mail cards. Were there any that I don't know why I'm even asking this, but I'm doing it anyway? 3? Okay.
3.
So that gives me 9. Wow. Okay. It looks like 1, 2, 3, 6 versus 4, but you guys have the high card. It is a plot scene. So, do you have more red cards? No. Is your highest card? Yes. So it's a no but on plot. You don't get what you want. I wanted to break up the team. So the team is going to break up here, but you keep it together.
So in this case, me keeping it together is actually, since my impulse is timidity, me keeping it together would be not being timid. So I think Rook has a little bit of like an outburst, and which is probably really scary, since 1, he's a Wookiee, and 2, he's never done anything like that, at least on screen. So he does that giant like Wookiee roar, raises his hands up and slams them down on their like planning table, and you see this like crack, and all of the hollow plans just like fizzle and fall away, and starts like accusing Neil, like, you are tearing this team apart. This was supposed to be a family. I signed up for this to serve the rebellion, and I found here this wonderful group of people who could serve the galaxy instead of trying to crush it, and now you are crushing us. Whether any of that's true or not, that's what Rook says.
You need to learn to fall in line. We are running like I'm the commander over here.
Nice. What does IG-78 say?
She says, I've been following orders all my life and not questioning them. And I had it. I think that Rook's way, the way of deliberation among equals, is the way forward.
What does Isel say?
Isel puts his hands on his waist and straightens up a little bit. And as he puts his hands on his waist, you see a lightsaber hanging from his belt. And he says, perhaps it is time that we reevaluate. And he turns around and walks out.
Followed by IG-78, who's also following him.
I think Rook storms out too. Yeah, nice, leaving you behind in with the shambles of your rebel cell. So, what I'd like to do with the remaining time before we'll do feedback, we don't have to do next time on, is I'd like for everybody to just get an epilogue scene. This can be far in the future. It could be moments later. It's the closing scene, swelling music. Doesn't have to be a whole lot of dialogue. I don't want it to be like a full-on scene. It's kind of a post-credits type. It's a quick hit to let us know, to help you put your character to bed. You don't have to worry about framing up scenes around your issues. I'm just curious where you see their end as far as this series goes. So I would like to start with IG-78.
I think we see IG-78 in a darkened room. there's the podium. On the podium is Rook performing his song, and she just touches her left shoulder.
Oh, that's awesome. So she's still a Rook fan. That's so good.
Is she knitting?
That is an awesome detail. She's definitely knitting, and it looks better than ever.
Nice. Nice. Oh, good. The knitting. Who saw a knitting droid? I didn't see that coming. So I think it's Rooks, right? I mean, I think those two are a great companion. So what is the epilogue scene we see for Rook?
So I think it is actually kind of this same scene and maybe a continuation of it. Rook is up there singing, and I don't want to put on a knee there in case we want to do something with her, but the drummer is definitely there. We've got our palm trees, and the song ends, and Rook kind of walks behind the curtain for a moment, pulls out a comm, and says, "Isol, he's seated at table 3," and then walks out and sits next to IG8, and they have a pleasant conversation. The implication being that Rook has found a way to be a part of the rebellion or help the rebellion out without violence, being an informant or a spy or something.
Neat. I like that. It was a neat way of doing a bit of both. Sweet. Isol, what is your epilogue scene?
There is a swampy jungle environment, and you see Rook's uncle sitting on a branch, like sitting on a fallen tree branch with this little tray, and there's like little utensils, and he's trying to like cut in this really awkward position, and he's like, rah, rah, rah. And below it says, "Why do we have to be here?" And then the camera pans over to the uncle, did I say he has a robot arm? So he has a mechanical arm. And then it pans over to Isol and a Rodian, and Isol is lifting his ship out of the swamp, which was, I think, somebody's next.
Yes, that was one of the next time odds. Oh, you win the thread. That is great. That is great. I think the reaction from the uncle is it's a Wookiee confusion sound. Nil Mao, what is your epilogue scene?
Yeah, well, him being the greatest villain, I think it has to be a sad one. So I think we see Neil just like rewatching the last communication he received from Garo, and the message is, Agent Mao, your performance has been evaluated to be very bad. As such, you are now considered a lost asset and will be arrested. Next time you are found. Yeah, I suppose that's it. And like Niels just like sits there because he's like at a big crisis point because he lost his like official employer or something like that. The thing he believed. So who knows? Maybe next time he will be a different person. He'll need to like find himself again.
It's a spin-off series, Nil Mao Burn Notice. That is great, guys. That is so good. So we've come up to time. What I'd like to do is take a 2-minute bio break for everybody, and then anyone who can stick around will do a brief feedback. Doesn't need to be over long, just kind of an overall summary of feelings around Primetime Adventures and stuff like that. So we'll see you guys in 2 minutes.